welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Raw review. Now, if you saw my Survivor Series review, I gave it a B. And I'm sure many people might say, dude, that show sucked. I was looking at it from the standpoint of new talent next to the actual matches. The matches were alright, but the new talent that was spotlighted was more important than that. So when you see Biggie Langston, you see the Wyatts, you see JoJo, Tamina, Summer Rae, Naomi, you got a lot of people that were spotlighted here. Cody Rhodes was spotlighted. Many people were spotlighted that needed to be spotlighted. Roman Reigns, the most important person there, was spotlighted the most for the entire show. We needed this. Of course, what happened with Randy Orton was important. What happened to John Cena was important. But I still believe that they were the most important ones to be spotlighted. Now, this show kind of goes on top of that. Was I interested in seeing repeat matches? No. But they really want to spotlight these people. So I'm going to go to the first one. Now this, I'm going to get the match over that I don't like. Miz versus Kofi Kingston. We saw that on the kickoff show. Didn't really care. Again, we see it again. And like I said in my Survivor Series review, they did not complete the job. Miz didn't turn heel. And in this case, when the Miz went up against Kofi again, he didn't show any heelish tendencies. There's only two options here. Just two, what they're doing. One, they're trying to drum up interest and publicity for the Miz's new movie, which is called Christmas Bounty. That's the only reason this was being done. They don't want to turn the Miz from face to heel. They just want to leave him face, and that's it. Then there's two, which I know is the most unlikely, but it would be interesting to see. Turning Kofi Kingston heel. Because they did this to The Miz on behalf of Kofi Kingston to turn him from a heel to a face. That he lost 3 times to Kofi Kingston and then he became a face. If they're doing a reverse of this and turning Kofi Kingston heel by 3 losses, that actually would be interesting to watch. But I don't think it's going to be done. I still believe that this is only getting Miz some publicity for his new movie. Miz wins, but he doesn't win because he needs to turn to a heel. Hopefully they'll do this after a month, and then finally we'll have the old Miz back that was much more interesting. And since I'm talking about Miz TV, and dealing with Michael Shawham. Now, I haven't seen a lot of football in years. I do remember I did like the 2000 and 2001 Giants, and he was a part of that. Was this interesting television? Michael Shawham is very... The reason I'm botching is because it upsets me for the simple fact is this. He has a good voice. He's charismatic. He looks like he can get along with anyone in the ring. Look what he did with Titus O'Neil, who was faking him. I enjoyed Titus O'Neil acting like Michael Shawham. I did enjoy it. Titus O'Neil is a very good character. He knows how to be able to imitate people and make people laugh. But Michael Shawham might actually fit in very well in WWE. And this is where I get upset. That when you see these themed Raws, where you have these special guests, sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have someone that's great one time, and then you have somebody who actually look like they could stay and do something good in the company. Now, I'm not saying that Michael Strawham, couldn't really do a good job in WWE. But he has that type of charisma that actually could get over, and he could stay there as an announcer. He's got a decent voice. He could become a color commentator. Hell, he could become a manager. Titus O'Neil was a former football player. This guy is a former football player. He could become his manager. You never know what could happen. And that is what gets me irked. He could actually stay, but he's not, and that just turns me off. So moving on to the 7-on-7 tag. I want to get this over with. I really wasn't interested at the ending. Bella's with Eva Marie. I really don't care. I don't. But the ones who were spotlighted again was Tamina. Yes, he's an older talent, but still, she could do good work. You got JoJo. People were jizzing on themselves because they wanted JoJo so badly in the ring. Summer Rae, who is at the very end of the match. And my woman Naomi, who got kicked out somewhere in early to mid of the match. Bullshit. That pisses me off that she got kicked out. Particularly, it was who? Alicia Fox. That makes me angry. Okay? I'm sorry. But those 4 women were spotlighted once again. Does this mean anything's going to happen for them? Tamina, no. JoJo and Summer Rae, yes, it'll help them. My Naomi is still stuck as a dancer right now. They have not put her in singles competition yet. So it's still a question where this will go. But still, it's alright. Now the match, this was epic. It made me happy. I wasn't jizzing on myself, but I'm happy to see it. Ryback and Curtis Axel versus Biggie Langston and Mark Henry. Yeah, baby. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I had to do it. Look, I said many months ago that when Biggie Langston came out with Dolph and AJ, if they broke him off, the best thing that could be done for him was either 1, fight Mark Henry, or 2, team up with Mark Henry and be a tag team. And what did we get? Mark Henry with Biggie Langston walking down the... It was epic to see these guys together because they're both power guys. Look, Biggie Langston, National Powerlifting Champion. Mark Henry, National Powerlifting World as well as Olympic Powerlifting Champion. He, with his little brother Biggie Langston, because they kind of look like brothers, because they're both kind of built similar, actually would get over as a tag team. If you can't see it, if you're scared, because look, Mark Henry did get bald. He did ball his ass off, ball himself up, and made himself look more meaner. How the fuck a guy who's already mean as it is look more meaner without hair? Shit, he is more meaner than he was before. But still, it would work. The match was superfluous. It doesn't matter about Ryback and Axel. They're gone. I don't give a fuck. But seeing those two together gives me great hope that Biggie Langston, who has a great potential in the business, works with Mark Henry, who's been in there at least 17 years. Put those two together, and you're going to have a winning combination of Mark Henry, who is still a staple in the WWE, and the Biggie Langston, who will become a staple. You just got to see it. Now, moving on to the match that... It was a decent match at Survivor Series, and this was a decent match too, but I really wasn't that interested. I can say that the interview with Renee Young in the ring and seeing the best with the beard was good. And Colt Cabana was mentioned in that segment. If you've never heard of Colt Cabana, go look him up. Great guy, good wrestler. Should have already been in WWE, but we didn't get that. But we did get a good promo from the Punk, who spoke about the Midnight Express, the Everybody Express, everybody under the sun, the Bushwhackers. He spoke about everyone, that them and their mother will get their asses whooped by us. I felt that was very good. Now, like I said, there's 2 reasons why these guys are together. 1, they literally have nothing for them to do right now because of what's going on with John Cena and Mark Henry, Randy Orton. Nothing's going on right now for them. They got nothing to do, so they paired them up as a tag team until they got something ready for them. Or they believe they've gone and made their run and they just need to be a tag team because it's better for them. Because they're both ROH guys. Bullshit. I'm hoping it didn't happen that way. But the match, no winner. What do we get? We got Punk getting laid out by the Shield and Daniel Bryan being taken away by the Wyatts. It doesn't really make much sense. Until they reveal who is telling them to do this, it seems very choppy. It would be dramatic TV, but for a person who cares at least a decent amount of storyline, you don't see why both of them are attacking them. They need a purpose. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now, Xavier Woods was highlighted today. We got the Funkadactyls, my baby Naomi was there, the gorgeous Cameron, R-Truth. They did their best to put this boy over. And I'm actually very happy to see this. Like I said before, in the Survivor Series, we got spotlighted a very decent amount of new talent. Does it mean they have great storylines? No. Does it mean we're going to be seeing them all the time? No. But still, this was a spotlight for them. Xavier Woods is a great talent from NXT. I've seen a little bit of him. Like I said, I haven't seen much of NXT. I haven't had a chance. But I had seen a little bit of Xavier Woods, thanks to Mr. Parkin. Thank you, sir. And he looks like he can get over. But that little bit about Xavier Woods getting water splashed on him like Splash Dance in the ring doesn't look like it's going to work very well. Because seeing all that water splash off that throw, that's an epic throw, is not going to look good to everyone. So I'm hoping that they'll work out his entrance. He doesn't need the Funkadactyls. He just doesn't need a water splashed on him like that. He's not Triple H that spits it out of his mouth. He's getting splashed on him. He won his match, and he looked good, and I'm happy about that. Now, the Shield versus the Rhodes Brothers and Rey Mysterio. This was a very interesting situation. When you get down to it, Roman Reigns was spotlighted again. But this time also Dean Ambrose to a point was spotlighted when he won over Cody Rhodes. I'm very happy to see them spotlight these guys. We need the future. It seems the WWE understands you need to spotlight these guys. But there's still one problem. The Shield need to be disbanded. At least you must have Dean Ambrose off on his own. You must have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins off on their own doing promo segments, having in-ring interviews. What was her name? Renee Young needs to do these types of things from these guys, or we're not going to get them over. They've been around for a year. They've done a good job, but now they need to have individual spotlight. Having Dean Ambrose on NXT a couple of times does not make it work. You have to have it on SmackDown or Raw. Don't put it on the WWE app, and don't put it on WWE.com, WWE. Do it right. Now, let's see what else we have here. Just want to make sure I don't forget anything, ladies and gentlemen. The final match. Alberto Del Rio and Orton versus Big Show and John Cena. Now, you saw the beginning of the show where John said, we need to have one champ. Now, I said quite a long time ago that there might be unification. And I've heard more than a few people say that's not going to happen. They need to do something about the brands. They need to get rid of SmackDown for that to happen. You need to have two different champions on two different shows. A few people have spoken like that. More than a few people say it's never going to happen. But now in 3 weeks it's going to happen at TLC. Is this the right thing to do? I don't know right now. It depends on how they're going to structure SmackDown and Raw. The reason they did this brand split was to emphasize WWE versus WCW. That was the purpose of the brands being the way they are. ECW was an extension of that. NXT was an extension of ECW now, as a developmental. So that's what it comes down to. So what are you going to get now? I'm not sure. In the end, John Cena won that match. But we got a Big Show concussed. John Cena getting his butt whooped by Randy Orton by getting the head of his head. The reason I'm botching is because I don't know how this is going to play out. if they're finally deciding that it's time to let go of WCW and just have one title and make it permanent, they really need to do something about SmackDown. They do. Because as it stands now with SmackDown, that's WCW. And many people do recognize it as a WCW ripoff, as a WCW derivative. I know a lot of people say TNA is like that, and it is too. But this is WWE. And I don't know if this will work. Maybe it's only temporary, or it could be permanent. But if the WWE does not do this properly, and it would have been better to have this at WrestleMania. WrestleMania could have done the belt unification, but they're doing it at TLC. And I just don't know if this is going to work properly. I'm very concerned that the WWE may not structure this properly, and it's going to be a big mess. I mean, when you look at Survivor Series, it was a decent show, but it wasn't a top A show. I gave it a B because the talent, the young talent, was more spotlighted than anything else. That's what was the most spotlighted there. Seeing it like this, I just don't know if the WWE understands what they're about to do again. They did unification while they were still in the Attitude Era. We're in the PG era. There's no guarantee this will work properly. They may still need the World Championship. Look, I'm kind of rambling here, but I'll make this very short. You have 2 undercard belts. You have 1 mid-card belt, and you want to have 1 main event. If you eliminate your mid-card belt, and you don't structure your mid-card and your undercard properly, you're going to have 2 undercard belts and 1 main title. I do not see them structuring the Intercontinental Championship properly to become a mid-card belt again. I don't see it. The mid-card division sucks. And this is what I'm worried. Because if they don't do this right, we're just going to have a big mess on our hands. How do I feel about this show? It spotlighted a lot of young talent, but it doesn't mean this was a good show. Honestly, I don't feel like it was a very good show, for the simple fact that a lot of loose ends and confusion is there. Who is the one that's dealing with the Wyatts and the Shield? They don't make it very clear. Biggie Langston should have been given a better shot over Survivor Series. Even though it was great to see him with Mark Henry, it just felt a little empty knowing that it wasn't defended here. They could have done a Mark Henry thing next week, but you see what I mean. So I'm going to give this a B-. It wasn't a very good show, but it still spotlighted very good talent. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Subscribe and comment to my channel. I really want some really good comments here because I want to know if I'm wrong or right about the unification. I want to know if they can work this out. I want to know your opinions. Have a good day.